how has your life changed since becoming a father?
Wow, you didn't even hesitate to just jump in and hit me with some hardened
Yeah,
question right
we're
off the
going
bat,
right
huh?
into it. We got to know exactly everything that's going on with you.
Okay, okay. My man's trying to dox me, Loki. Anyways,
I guess so.
I mean, it's definitely changed in a good way. I can't really. How do I adequately like describe this? Like, there's kind of like a switch that flips when that happens, and
What
you
do you
go
mean by
through
that?
that. Like the whole time throughout that like anticipation period of like, holy shit, she's coming. It didn't feel real,
Sure.
and then like when she was here, it's just like a holy shit. Like I'm a father. Like
Yeah,
this
like
is
you have to
real.
take care of this little thing now for at
Yeah.
least 18 years.
Oh no, dude, she's going out when she's like 10. What are you talking about? I'm gonna get her a job. She's gonna be
Yeah,
working.
okay. Good luck.
Uh, but yeah, like a switch just flips and you just go into like parent mode, and then like your whole world kind of changes. It's just that is your priority. You need to make sure that she's educated, safe, taken care of, all that good stuff.
Do you have any
It
plans for what you want to do? Like, do you want her to play sports? Do you want her to go to a private school or something? Like, do you have any ideas for stuff regarding that, or is it too soon to even think about?
it's definitely stuff that you do think about right off the bat. And I mean, I have some general ideas. I don't have anything set in stone yet. It's like a where am I gonna end up thing. Like, am
Yeah,
I?
it depends a lot on how you turn out in your own career and where you are geographically around family, whether you're not around family,
Yeah.
if you have
So
a stable job,
it's
if you're able to
definitely
afford a
a
schooling and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of factors that go into it. So it's like am I still going to be in this area 3 years from now, or am I going to move closer to where I work, or what's the deal with that?
Do you
But
think you'll ever leave
definitely,
Massachusetts?
yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
Well, you've left before, but you came back. So what would make you move and stay somewhere else?
The opportunity to have a good foundation.
Okay.
I think it's as simple as that. It just boils down to like having good climate, being able to do the things we want to do, being able to go and explore the things we want to explore, like good food. That's definitely number one. A lot of kid activities around, so that way we can keep her busy. That'd be great. Um, what else? I honestly am big into music, so it'd be cool to go see a concert at some point in the future. One of my artists is performing, things like
How has
that.
it been? That's another thing. Is since you've had your daughter, how has your personal time been different or the same, or what are new ways that you can share your personal time that are more exciting than they were before or worse than they were before? Because obviously that's a big adjustment to come to. It's like now you have to take care of this person. How do you come around and figure out how to do things for yourself?
Yeah, it's a pretty good question. I'm still trying to figure that out, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I mean, yeah, it's a difficult one for even people that don't have children. It's like, how do you find the time to make your own activities
I
enjoyable? Like, how do you do that? It's a tough thing. It's everyone struggles with it, but it's even more difficult for you.
I think working remote definitely makes it a little more feasible. So depending on what shift I'm on, definitely helps. There's a lot of times where if, I need to see somebody or give a haircut or whatever, I just have them come to me because it's easier. I pretty much have integrated her into my schedule at this point, like fully. So if I need to go and do things, I have the opportunity to just jump in the car. Let's go. It's pretty seamless and easy now.
Oh,
Um,
so she'll come with you to do your errands and stuff?
yeah, absolutely. It's good for her to get out and get exposure to the world and see different faces.
I would agree with that. Yeah, especially just to see how the world operates. Because if you stay inside all the time, then you miss out on a lot of key learning.
Yeah, so
There's things that you'd need to learn. And I don't know how. You know what has always fascinated me is, if you've ever heard of this, is a critical period.
yeah,
Yeah, so like they always say there's like critical periods for learning language. If you grow up in a dual language household, I think it's about 6 or 7 years old, where you have kind of like all the time leading up to that point, you're the most adaptable to learning that language. So if you have
hmm
someone speaking English and Spanish in a household, You'll probably learn both so long as you grow up and you hear them both all the time. But that's the critical period. It becomes a lot more difficult to learn little things like that. I guess it's not a little thing, it's a pretty big thing. But it becomes a lot more difficult the older you get. If you were 14, it's still possible, but it's a lot harder than if you're 1 month old through 7 years old learning that language. Your brain's just so plastic at that point that you can learn a lot of information.
No, 100%.
Which I think is good. I think it's cool too that you're getting her out and seeing all of like basically the stuff that you're seeing. It's a lot of exposure at once.
No, exactly. Kid's already been to more states than I have, dude. It's nuts.
No, I honestly, that's another thing I was going to bring up is that I've never left the United States until last year. In my almost 23 years of life, I've left the United States once, and it was last year. It's like I feel like as kids we didn't travel a lot. Like we didn't have there was no reason to. It's like maybe we go to Florida. Like, what else are we gonna do?
I still have not been there. I haven't had that opportunity yet. It did arise, but it just wasn't.
What's the
right
furthest
time.
you've gone? Is it North Carolina?
Yeah, actually.
It was when you moved there. What else have you gone? You've obviously gone to like New Hampshire and stuff. You lived there.
New Hampshire, Mass, NC, the states bordering NC, like around NC. We stopped in a few of them. And
what's around? I don't even.
Drove
My
through.
geography's so bad, dude. This is embarrassing. Isn't there like Georgia over there?
Georgia's. I think it's honestly
It's a little
I'm not
more
even sure if it's
south,
further
right?
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a little further down. But I know
Well,
we
obviously
passed through,
there's
like,
South
Maryland.
Carolina.
Yeah, South. That we didn't get there though. We passed through Pennsylvania. We passed through New York.
Oh,
we passed
Pennsylvania's
through
great.
Connecticut.
Is-
What the
okay,
fuck else is
this
on
is
its way?
how bad my
Virginia. We stopped in
geography-
Virginia.
Is Philadelphia in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. Anyways, that's embarrassing to ask. Anyways, but so for medical schools, I want to apply. Apparently, I didn't know this, but Philadelphia has some of like the best medical schools in the country. Like not even the medical schools, just the medicine there in general is like really good. Have you ever heard that?
I didn't know.
Yeah, I see no one. I guess no one would know. I bet you other people would know if anyone is listening and they hear that Philadelphia is a pretty proficient medical area. I just learned that the other day. But growing up in Boston, you just think like, oh, the best doctors are in Boston. It's the best area to be for medicine. Like everyone wants to go to the Dana-Farber hospitals in Boston. But then I heard that like some of the best doctors are trained and actively practice in Philadelphia.
See, that's an interesting point because having experienced healthcare outside of Massachusetts, I think that it's pretty mediocre at best, and there's a reason why I say that.
In
It's
Massachusetts or outside of Massachusetts?
in Massachusetts, and the
What
reason why I
makes you
say
say
that is
that?
because the best medicine here is for cancer. General healthcare, I think it's fairly on par with
So
everywhere else.
you know what? I was just watching a video the other day, and the main point was talking about the physician shortage. Surely you've heard of the physician shortage.
Absolutely. Shout out Dr. Mike.
So it's crazy because the video is breaking down. It's called "Tell Me Again About the Physician Shortage." It's a super, super cool video. It's by Sheriff of Sodium on YouTube. I highly recommend you check it out. The whole point of the
Sheriff
video...
of Salt.
Well, he's a cardiologist, nephrologist
That makes
actually,
sense.
so he deals with salt all the time. That's the point. But anyways, the whole point of the video is he's tearing apart this idea that there's a physician shortage, and it's more about people are choosing to practice in areas that will compensate them more. There's not really a physician shortage. If you were to do the math and break it down to how many people would you need to take care of a certain like X number of people, as a primary care physician, we are actually oversaturated. There's too many primary care physicians per people, but it's a matter of where they're concentrated. So they go as physicians per capita or something like that. It's a certain unit that I'm unfamiliar with. But in the United States, I think Massachusetts is one of the highest physicians per capita. So there's so many primary care physicians just concentrated in Mass, but it's disproportionate to the other parts of the country. So if you're looking at places like, Idaho, where it's a lot less, it's more rural, there's a lot less urbanization, then there's going to be less physicians in that area, and they're not getting compensated as well. The reason that they're in Massachusetts is because Boston's a very high traffic area, and people are making more money in Boston, so all the physicians flock over to Boston or big cities like California and Philadelphia, and that's where they're making all the money. So when you have this physician shortage idea, it's like people are saying, well, there's a shortage because there's not enough people in my town in Idaho. There's literally one primary care doctor taking care of every single person in my town. It's like, well, there's not really a shortage. It's just that no one wants to go to Idaho because there's nothing there and there's no money.
And it's funny that that's something that's actually coming to light with the physician shortage
Isn't
scenario
it a
that you
hard
just
word to
described.
say? I've been struggling so hard.
That's brutal. I just sounded fucking stupid. But it's crazy because it feels like there's a shortage in mass. So I just feel like you wait forever. You barely get answers to what you're looking for, and I've noticed that it's very you have to be very adamant to get any sort of answers or treatment that you're looking
that's
for.
another point that the guy brings up in the video. I think his name is Dr. Carmody. So I'll refer to him as Dr. C. But he basically is explaining that there's even in these big physician proficient areas like Boston, there's still like wait lists to get on to see a doctor. Have you ever tried to see a specialist, like a neurologist? You have to wait 3 months just to get an appointment.
Yeah,
It's
it's nuts.
Even though you have so many people that are able to take care of you, there's still a wait. It's crazy. It almost is discouraging. It's like, why do I even try to get the care if I have to wait 3 months? Like, my problem might just solve itself on its own at that point.
Exactly,
You know what I
and
mean?
that's something that I've been encountering more often than not.
Have you experienced that yourself?
Yeah, all the time. Still now. I'm on my like fourth office of trying to figure out what it is that I need and how long the wait is.
So last I remember I talked to you, you had some problems with your knee.
Yes.
You were going, if I remember correctly, you had seen like 3 or 4, was it orthopedic doctors?
3. Yeah.
And you were gonna get like the surgery or something for it, but because no one could come to a consensus, no one could figure out what's going on with your knee. You had MRIs, you had the other what other scan did you have? A CT scan too?
X-ray.
X-ray. Yeah, and nothing. No one was able to figure out what's going on with your knee. Where are you with that? Are you still
I gave up.
like really?
Yeah.
No. This is terrible. Well, that's so sad. Is it mostly the money thing, or is it just that like you have no more hope left?
I don't have any more hope. I
One
just
of my biggest gripes right now is the insurance costs for, and this is something I've learned just from working in a doctor's office. It's crazy that like 96% of medicine is basically dictated by insurance. It doesn't matter if you have the best insurance in the world. If you go to the doctor's office, there's a chance that your insurance will get declined for something as simple as like an x-ray or something that then you'll have to pay out of pocket for, and it's like $500 to $5,000. If you want an MRI, good luck, dude. If you don't have insurance, you're gonna go into debt. It's unbelievable.
yeah, I've actually seen that happen more often than not, and I know a few people who at my company have gone through that, and it sucks to see that because it shouldn't be that way. I think it's stupid, but
When you compare the United States to other countries that have free healthcare, like Canada, it's laughable. It's like, holy cow, why we're actually going through this? Like, you shouldn't have. And this is why things like the United Healthcare shooting happen. And like, it's a really sad thing to see someone die over this. But people get so upset over the insurance companies, and it's understandable. I understand why you'd be so upset about it when your grandmother has a certain cancer and she needs a scan or a certain medicine, but insurance won't cover it because it costs too much money for them. That's not the reason they use, but they'll say, well, it might not be medically necessary for them to use this medicine. Like, it's so frustrating, and obviously it's not gonna stop. This isn't the first time I think that someone's gonna get killed over something like this.
and it has happened. It has happened. Uh, I think that that whole situation was crazy. By the way, so
The Luigi one?
yeah,
What did you find crazy about it? I think
I
it's crazy too.
I just think it's crazy that somebody actually decided to act on it and just went ahead and did what they had to do. By the way, I thought it was crazy that half of the weapon of choice he used was 3D printed. In case anyone didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he had a ghost gun. So how would you? Because you have a 3D printer. How would you go about making? Not that I want to make one, but how do you even do that? Do you have like are those are just like available prints you can get online for free? Like how does that work?
Yes, they are. And basically, what happens is there's only so much of the firearm that you can make. So you can basically make the rack. You can make the handle. You can the grip. You can make the actual trigger itself, and you can make. I think you can actually make the safety switch as well. And as
And
long
this is how he did it.
and the clip magazine discharge or the clip ejector, and then from there you can buy a. I think it's like a. You ever see like one of those like kits that you can buy for the Lego cards or whatever it is, where you put them together and it comes like that. You can basically do that for the like internal metal intricacies of a firearm as well, and then you just assemble the 3D printed parts to it, and that's it. Or
So
in his case,
you
I think he
basically
can.
buy like the base and then you can assemble the rest of it through 3D printing. Is that
Yeah,
what he did?
exactly. Or he just. I'm not sure if the entire firearm was 3D printed, but it looked like half it was. So he
Yeah,
definitely
they
made
called it
modifications to that.
a ghost gun. Is that the proper name, or is it just the fact that it didn't have a serial number that made it a ghost gun? Maybe a
I
little bit
th-
of both.
I think it's a little bit of both. I'm actually not sure why it's called a ghost gun. I haven't heard that term before, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that's popular in the 3D printing community, and I just didn't know.
I just thought it was so bizarre, the whole thing, because I kept hearing about it. Reddit lost their mind over this. Like, all I could see on the front page for days was just this guy's face, which is crazy because the biggest point that they were making on Reddit was like, why is this guy getting so much paparazzi and popularity over this thing when people that are like killing anyone else on the street at any point of the day, like they're not getting any recognition. They're not getting put on. This guy kills a CEO and all of a sudden he's like the world's most wanted criminal.
Right, and I think it's interesting how there's a lot of emotional factor that went into that too. It seemed like it was very personal for him. He went through his own grievances with insurance companies and whatnot, and now I'm seeing that the government is taking a stand and they're trying to monitor anyone who has had a negative experience with healthcare in the past or insurance, to be more specific.
Well, it's so this is the thing too, is that in my office, I don't know if this is just my office or if it's all across every office in the United States, but especially when it comes around to a new year and people start rolling out new policies, the biggest problem that people in my office are having right now are figuring out how to deal with the new insurance codes. There's things called CPT codes and like your ICD codes and things that dictate how insurance is going to cover for people's visit. And there's new rules like every so often that they come out with, and it's basically like if you use this code, then this will get covered. And I work in ears, nose, and throat, so one of like the bigger things that we do is something called a nasal endoscopy, where you take this camera, you numb up the nose, and you get to look inside the sinuses and down the throat. That turns into a laryngoscopy. And if you were to just pay for that out of pocket, it's like just to do it once, I want to say it's $600.
Jesus Christ.
It's really expensive, and the whole thing takes about a minute. But that's just the way that it is. Like that, it's just $600. But insurance used to just cover that for things like here's an example. If someone has obstructive sleep apnea, you have to look in their throat to make sure there's not any like masses or like a lesion or a polyp that's obstructing their airway. But the problem comes when you're looking down their throat, and this is covered by insurance. Their laryngoscopy part's covered by insurance, but you incidentally find like a polyp in their sinuses, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put that in my assessment and say that they have a nasal polyp. Well, if you don't say in your HPI, which is your history of present illness, if you don't have a little blurb in there that mentions like, oh, the patient has significant nasal congestion, and then you put the billing code under a nasal endoscopy for a polyp, they're going to have to pay out of pocket because you didn't mention in the HPI that this person had congestion and you had no reason to look for a polyp in their sinuses. The only thing you had a reason to look for was if there was any obstruction in their airway. It's things like that that are so minute that can completely screw over people's finances. It's like now I have to pay $600 out of pocket because there's this one little thing in my that I missed writing down, and now this person has to pay $600 because that's just the way the insurance companies work. That's how they operate.
So, in your experience, what is something that us, the consumer, can do, or the insurees?
Well, it's
can
sad
do to
because there's
circumvent
really
that?
nothing you can do to fight against it. Like, it's not like you can just get better insurance. All insurance companies are doing this. The problem is how the insurance companies they literally have medicine by the balls. Like, they have hospitals. It's a matter of, like, people working in the admin chains of hospitals. They have, like, a master's in business, and then they're working with doctors and telling them how to operate. That's not how it works. It's like, the problem is systemic. It's not something that the consumer can just fix. It's a problem with the whole system.
What sort of system changes do you think that we would need to implement to see change in the
It
future?
would have to fall down to it's a lot of things because obviously it's a complicated system. So if you change one thing, you're going to see a lot of downstream effects. It's not something you can just snap your fingers and kind of poo away. It's very complicated, and people are trying. And obviously, like a lot of people would have to swallow their greed and say like, okay, I understand that we're going to lose a little bit of money this quarter, but like maybe we don't have to charge $650 for a 60-second scope. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that it doesn't need to be as expensive it is. Like people that are type 2 diabetic or type 1 diabetic even, and they need insulin's very expensive. It's not something that you can just like go and over. If it were an over-the-counter drug, you couldn't just buy it it would be like the Coach bags of drugs. It's something that we can produce so easily, but it's very expensive to buy from a medical standpoint. Why? There's no need for it to be that expensive.
Because they can make money.
That's the main reason is it's corporate greed. People want the money. They need the money for their new Bugatti that they can drive around. It's like, obviously it's not that shallow, but it might as well be because it seems like it. Sorry, I'm ranting about this, but it's something that's really, you would never know this if you didn't work in medicine, and if you were a victim of medicine, obviously you'd know it too. But if you're not one of those two things, this is something that just flies around all the time, and you're not aware of it. It's something that's just like, okay, that's how the world works.
And that's it. That's all there is to it.
But it makes me wonder. It's like, especially when you're coming into problems where you have to wait 3 hours 3 months to get an appointment with a neurologist or an orthopedist. And then all of a sudden you go and it's like, actually, we can't cover what we just made you pay for. So you're going to have to pay out of pocket. It's like, okay, thanks, insurance. Very cool.
Thanks for absolutely nothing. And with that being said, here's where I got a little segment for you.
Sure.
You have 60 seconds to come up with the wildest hypothetical. It can be a tech or health invention. And it needs to have a purpose and something that it can either fix or cure. So I'm going to count down from 3 and I'll give you 60 seconds. You got all that?
Yeah, I'm ready. I already got it.
All right, 3, 2.
No. We don't have to count down. I already know.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Go.
All right. I'm not sure if this is already in the works. My idea is it's kind of like Neuralink. You ever hear of Neuralink? Elon Musk is working to make this like implantable brain chip.
Yes.
Okay. The idea is this. You have insomnia. You can't sleep. It doesn't matter how hard you try. You just can't sleep. and you're up, maybe you're getting 2 hours of sleep a night. This happens to a lot of people, especially people that have PTSD, other comorbidities, like medication side effects. If you have a medication that you need to take, it might make you stay awake. Here's the invention, or here's
20
the idea,
seconds.
at least. You create a neural implant that stimulates areas of the brain that make you go to sleep. It gets you through all the stages. You get good sleep. There's your insomnia problem solved. How do you do that? It's a lot more complicated. That's my invention, though.
You did that with 2 seconds to spare. That was
Yeah,
impressive.
you know, that's what they call me. 2 seconds.
Clip that. We're saving that. Saving that for future
Yeah.
reference.
Okay, I can't believe this.
It's on the internet. It's never going anywhere, dude.
I would do the same thing for you, but I don't think that I can. I don't have a fun segment for you like that.
Dude, no worries, bro. I'll have to send you the notes I have with all of them in it afterwards.
Yeah, that's great. What
Actually-
do you think, though? Good invention?
You know, I do think that was a pretty good invention.
Do you remember what it was?
It was a knockoff Neuralink for sleep.
Yeah, basically.
If I had to condense it from that 60-second pitch.
Neuralink's such an interesting idea because, like, you're implanting this one little chip, but it's like it depends where you implant something that makes it do certain things. In my old lab, we worked in my old VA research lab. We did these little, like, you ever see like what a cable looks like an electrical cable, just a regular old, like, behind the walls for like a light switch or something, and then has the insulation and has the copper wires.
Yeah, of course.
So we had ones that were like half of a micron in diameter, so they're super duper duper tiny. But you take these and you put a mouse under anesthesia and you do brain surgery on the mouse in this little stereotaxic, like, chamber kind of thing, and you implant this little cable into certain areas of the mouse's brain, and depending where you put it, you get different outputs. And so this is getting a little in depth, but have you ever heard of oh geez, I already forget what it's called. Basically, you can flash a light, like a little laser, on certain neurons that you implant this, like, laser into the brain. You flash a light on certain neurons and it activates them. It's called, like, optic something. I forget. It's like optogenetics. That's what it's called. Optogenetics. So you get this little like needle, basically. You get a syringe. You fill it with this viral particle that has DNA for these enzymes that implant themselves into their neuron cell wall. And the enzymes react to light. So when you flash this certain frequency or wavelength of light onto the neuron, the enzymes open up. So they let different particles go into the cell wall. So when you flash the light on, sodium neurons influx into sodium molecules influx into the neuron, and then it turns the neuron on. What does that mean? What can you do with that? So this is where it gets really cool. We would implant these lasers into certain parts of the mouse's brain. One area is called the prelimbic cortex, one is called the basal forebrain, and one is called the anterior insula. So we're putting these laser little, like, electrodes into the brain, and then you can activate them during certain parts of a task. What we find is that depending on where you place the electrode, you get different responses. That seems like a pretty easy conclusion to come to. You could come up with that without doing the experiment, basically. It's like, oh, if you put something in the brain and stimulate it, it's going to do something different. What's cool is when you're using it in a task where you're focusing on, like, attention. So we had a task where a mouse is required to press a lever, and if it presses the lever, it gets a reward. So they get highly trained in this task and they get really good at it, where they basically are able to press the lever, get the reward, and they do it a few hundred times in 30 minutes. And we find that if you can put this laser in a certain part of the brain responsible for attention, and I forget the exact name of the area. It wasn't the prelimbic cortex. I'll have to get back to you on that. But it's an attention area in the brain for the mouse, and if you flash the light onto these neurons that have this viral DNA in it to open the enzymes and activate the neurons, completely distracts the mouse. Makes it do something completely different than what you originally wanted it to do, which was focus. So you're impacting the focus of their just by activating a set of neurons. Now, this is a really long way for me to explain. Neuralink is interesting because where do you put this one little chip that's supposed to impact all of your circuits? It's like you need one chip that has several different projections that goes all across the brain to do certain different things, and it needs to be able to interact with all the brain areas in one coordinated way to actually have an effect, which I think is why Neuralink isn't something that's just come out all of a sudden and like we would have access to it already. It's a lot more complicated of a product, and I don't foresee for at least the next 20 to 30 years that we'll see anything like that that's practical that the average person would want to use.
So this gives me a great segue into another segment, sci-fi or sci-fact. Now,
What is it?
Sci-fi or sci-fact. I'm going to
Okay.
name two different things. One of them is real. One of them is fake. I want you to use your best judgment to tell me which one is real and which one is fake.
Sure.
First one. It's called a Starforge. Now, we can make this fun. We can do this with context or without context. What would you prefer?
Give me context.
Starforge is a machine that's capable of creating miniature stars that in turn are allowed to be used to harvest a certain amount of energy in a certain time period.
Okay, what's the scale on this? Like, is it something that... Is this something I can put in my backyard in like a little tent, or am I in like a big science lab where I'm doing this?
This is in a lab setting.
Okay,
So
and I'm
that's
guessing
number
if
one.
this is real or fake, or are you giving me another one as well?
So
And
I'm
I
gonna
think
give you another one as well, and you're gonna determine
Okay.
which one's real and which one's fake.
Sure.
The next one would be a solar sail, and that is a type of a spacecraft that's propelled by sunlight.
A spacecraft?
Yep.
Jeez. Okay, I want to say the solar sail is real.
Are you certain?
I'm
Final
not. No,
answer.
I'm not certain, but it makes me. To me, it seems like it'd be a lot harder to create stars in a lab setting. I think that there'd be a lot more implications involved in that than a solar cell, because we already have solar panels, and if you go in space, all of the sunlight is right there. So I think it makes sense. That makes more sense to me than Starforge. How'd I do?
You are right. Starforge is not real.
Good. Because the Starforge thing is like, if you make a star, that's so much energy in one contained space. And granted, we're able to make pretty cool things in labs, but I don't think we'll be able to make that just yet. Did
Honestly,
you come up with that on your own?
I did not, but I thought that definitely was going to take you for a loop. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. You didn't get me though. Maybe next time.
All right, well, shit. Here's round two.
Oh, you have another one. Okay,
Of
go
course,
for
I
it.
have more. Of course, I have
You
more.
have more.
Okay, so you might have seen this in a television show, and it might actually be something that could be real, but it could be sci-fake. You never know. So, this one's called a Thoughtcaster. And it's a helmet that was used to transmit thoughts directly into other people's minds. Now, there was a handful of TV shows where this item was showcased. I'm not going to give you any hints as to which TV shows those were, but one of them definitely tried to highlight the importance of this during a historic period of time. All right. So that's number one.
Sure.
Number two. This one is called a smart contact lens, and it's essentially it's just a wearable contact device that acts as like. Have you ever seen like the Meta Ray-Ban glasses?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that, but the contact lens is augmented reality instead. So it has best of both worlds in that sense.
Whoa. So you're saying you can either transmit thoughts or augmented reality contact. Oh, this one's actually really hard. I don't know of any good data that suggests you can transmit thoughts to another person's brain. However, I also don't know how good technology is to put augmented reality in a little contact lens. Both of them seem fake to me. But if
This
I
one's
had to
tough.
guess which one, I'd say the contact lens is real.
Are you certain?
No, of course I'm not certain.
You are correct. The contact
Of
lens is real.
course, I don't know any good data that suggests we can put thoughts in someone else's brain. It just seems too sci-fi to me.
We definitely gotta hash these ones out. These are some good ones. So I'm not gonna lie. They're still like I got like 13 more of each.
You have so many, Jesus Christ. Dude.
Hey man, I'm trying to pump out the content here. Trying to make it interesting.
This is actually a really good question, though. You had me thinking, racking my brain.
Well, I can't give it to you too easy, can I?
I guess so. So I have a question for you now. We're getting back into the deep. We started off deep with what it was like to be a father, but now this is just kind of more about your daily life. What does your day look like? What's your morning routine? What do you do? How do you keep things moving forward? How does your morning routine set you up for success? Do you have a nighttime routine? What do you do at night every night? Do you think that this helps you go to bed on time or keep your schedule in order for the next day? Do you have like a planning category? It's a lot at once, but tell me about it.
All right. Well, at approximately 5:30 a.m., I move my bowel. No, I'm kidding. It's stupid.
I thought you were serious.
No.
I was ready.
Yeah. Let's see. My schedule changed recently. Not gonna lie. So it's definitely more so like I don't know. On an average day, I wake up at like 6, but I've been trying to get up at 5:30 to go to the gym every morning, which has been interesting. Definitely hard to wake up that early.
Yeah, I've tried before. It's not fun.
No, it's not.
I was doing that while I was studying for the MCAT.
Yeah, it's brutal, isn't it?
Oh, it's so bad. And like you can do it, but there's a certain point where you hit diminishing returns and it's like you'd probably just be better off for the day if you did sleep the extra 30 to 45 minutes. That's besides the point. Keep going.
Yeah. So I'm usually up at 6:30 every morning. After that, I go and get my kiddo, and then we will usually hang out like 20 minutes if we play, and then we'll get some breakfast ready. After that, take Charlie out for the morning. I'll go to the bathroom. And then depending on the shift I have, I'll either work or I will just hang out with the fam and do errands if they need to be done. If not, then we're just pretty much chilling for a little while, letting the kiddo free play once more. I'm trying to think, like, it's pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie.
It's boring to you because you do it every day, but I have never I don't live a day in your life.
That is true. Let's see what else I do. Then she usually goes down around like, I don't know, anywhere between 10 and 11. After that, I will either go to the gym if I didn't go in the morning already, or I will get some school done.
What type of gym do you go to? Do you go to like a Planet Fitness or something?
Yeah, I'm poor. I go to PF.
Planet Fitness is a good gym. As far as I'm concerned, it has everything you need. You don't need a lot to get a good workout, and they have weights. The only thing I don't like about Planet Fitness is that they don't have free barbells. It's all Smith machine stuff, but that's okay. You could still do a lot on Smith machines.
Yeah, I have free barbells at home, so I'm not really too worried. Especially if like I'm really not feeling like going for the 8-minute ride, I'll just work out at home. But that's pretty much it for the first half at like 12 every day. Have lunch.
Do you get like
Um,
a dedicated time for lunch at work, or since you're already home, they kind of just expect you to eat lunch whenever?
we still take our hour for lunch. Just be like, hey, I'm going to grab lunch real quick. Then you just sign off. Good. And you come back when you're done.
And your
Um,
salary, right? Or are you hourly?
yeah, it's hourly.
Did you just
No way.
combine salary and hourly
Yes, I
and
did.
call
I
it
don't want to talk
salary?
about it. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Um, it's a salary job. So yeah.
So it doesn't really matter when you take lunch. You just
No.
you get the time
Uh,
anyways.
yeah, and then 3 p.m. I usually have my second coffee of the day. Take Charlie out and hang
Are
out
you a
until
one
dinner
cup in the
time.
morning kind of guy?
Yeah, 1 cup in the morning and then one in the late afternoon, early afternoon, I guess. Mid afternoon. I don't know. Depends what you call 3 p.m. Some people it's early, some people it's late.
Early afternoon. We'll give it that. I
Yeah,
just call it afternoon.
yeah, and then that's pretty much it. And then and we'll hang out and watch TV with the wifey or play a video game or two, and then that's it until about 9. I take Charlie out, except with the exception of today because we're recording, and then I'll come back in, wash and brush my teeth, and then I'll go lay in bed, watch an episode of whatever show that I'm interested in at the moment, and that's basically it.
What's the average time you think you fall asleep, and how long do you think you're staying in bed for each night?
Um, damn, the hell? That's like a really in-depth, like, what do you know?
This
Your
is
body's
something I
doing type
dial
question.
I dial in so hard because I appreciate sleep so much since working in a sleep lab.
Um, repeat the question one more time.
So
So,
what's
how long
the
am I in bed?
average time you think that you'd fall asleep, and how long do you think you're staying in bed each night?
Let's see. So if it's, I mean, once I put my phone down, I'm usually asleep within like 5-10 minutes. Um, I just put all that stone there, you son of a bitch.
Oh, seriously?
Yo. Oh my god, the pain.
Sorry. My bad. Wait,
That was-
you should delete all this stone and you should make stone bricks.
Oh, all right. Then you're doing the interior decorating.
All right, cool.
I'm going mining. I'm going back out to the fields.
Repeat what you said. You said you go to bed at what time?
So on an average night between 10 and 10:30.
And then you wake up
Um,
at 6 to 6:30. So you're getting like
Yeah.
8 hours. That's a really good night.
Yeah, it's not bad. Sometimes, like today, I'm working until 12 in the morning, so I'll end up probably staying up until like 11 or 12. And I'll still get up at 6:30 anyways. So then if I have to, I'll just take a nap in the morning.
Do you
But
ever take naps?
usually, honestly, yeah,
I used to be huge on naps, and now I can't find the time to take naps anymore. It's really depressing.
it's definitely hard, but there are times when I'm just like, dude, I physically can't stay up anymore. Like, I just need to shut my eyes and relax.
In college, I used to have underneath my bed, I had a little sanctuary for where I would take naps, and the reason I had it under my bed and not on my bed is because if I went on my bed, I'd sleep way too late. I would not. It wouldn't be a nap. It would be more like a full night of sleep.
I respect it though.
Sometimes you
if
gotta
you-
take a nap. Sometimes you need a good nap.
Yeah, but if your body keeps you asleep, it's because you need it, right?
It's true. Well, that's the thing with me too, is that I can sleep like a long time. Like I can
So-
sleep all day by accident. I think the most I remember sleeping is about 16 hours. But it was during COVID too, so when you have nothing to do,
Jeez,
it's a lot.
that's
It's a long time.
So what does your routine look like in comparison?
It's a lot similar. It's not exactly the same because we work different jobs, and I don't have any call shifts. But I'd
That might change
say-
very soon.
Yeah, that's you won't be on call anymore.
Yeah, ideally.
That's good. Good for you. Right now I wake up about 6 every day. So I can get to work by 7:30ish. So I'll wake up at 6. I'm really slow in the morning. I take a long time. I'm gonna go through all the little minute routine exactly as it is. So I wake up at 6. I roll over. I kind of just like lie there for 5 minutes and let myself wake up, and then I get up, and it depends on the day. Recently, I've been doing 10 minutes of breath work. So I'll kind of just, I have a little yoga mat by the foot of my bed. So I'll sit down um, in like a nice upright position, and I'll do 10 minutes where I just watch a YouTube video that guides you through like a guided meditation. And then I'll go brush my teeth and go downstairs, either have breakfast or not. Um, and then I'll head out the door at about 7 ish. So by the time I'm done with my meditation and stuff, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I get all my stuff together, and I put my lunch in my bag and everything, it's about 6:45. I head out the door, get to my car, and it's like 6:50. I leave, and then I drive 30 to 40 minutes to work. I'll get there at 7:30. I work 8 to 5 most days. I usually get out about 4:30, and by the time I get to the gym, it's 5 p.m. I go to the gym straight after work every day. There's very few exceptions other than like when I have to babysit Mason, or if I have to go and drive to Megan's house for the weekend, then I won't go to the gym. Otherwise, I'll be there without fail. It's just a part of my routine now. And then I'll work out for about an hour and a half. The workout itself is an hour. I'll usually shower and hit the sauna after the workout, so that's about like another half hour. So I'm there for like 1.5 hours a day.
You're a gym shower?
Yeah, so I go in the sauna at the gym, and I don't like to shower, or not. I don't like to sit in my sweat on the car ride home, so I shower.
That makes
I get it
sense.
all off me while I'm there. The one thing I will say is that the YMCA, the one at least that I'm at, doesn't have stalls in the shower, so it's like one big communal shower, and it's really gross. But other than that, it's fine. Like I don't mind it very much.
So you're out there taking your socks off and you're touching your bare feet on the shower floor?
No, I have shower shoes.
Okay.
God forbid I touch my bare feet on those floors. I don't know what anyone's done there.
I could just picture you making that face in the photo of you with the chicken nugget when you're sticking your tongue out.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I'll do that. So here's the fun reveal: is I just signed up to run a marathon in May. So I've been training.
Whoa.
Actually, starting yesterday, I started to train, and I'm going to be doing 40 miles a week. I've already done 10 for this week. So it's going to get very intense soon, but I'm basically putting my lifting stuff on the back burner so I can train fully for the marathon and get as in good cardiovascular shape as I can for this thing. I want to try and do it under 4 hours, but for at least the next 3.5 months, I'm going to be training super hard for that, which means a lot of running, and I'm going to probably a lot of weight. That's okay though. I'll gain it back eventually, as long as I finish this thing in time.
Yeah, no,
And
100%. Are you looking forward to that? Is that something that you want to challenge
oh
yourself
my
to do?
god, absolutely. One day I want to run in the Boston Marathon, but to do that, you need to be able to qualify, or you need like a sponsorship or something along those lines. So, take it one step at a time and run a marathon first. That's my goal. So I'll do that. I usually get home about 7. I'll have dinner, and then I'll prepare for the next day, and it takes me to about 8:15, and then I'll either work on my medical school application at that time, or I'll game and do stuff like this. And then about 9:15 to 9:30, I'll go to bed, and I do the same thing the next day. So the weekends are a little different. I kind of just take it easy. I don't usually work out much on the weekends, and if I do, it's a very, very like slight active thing. But I like my schedule. I think that it kind of sets me up for success, and it compounds on itself. Like once you do one thing, it gets easier the next day, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, I think adding the gym to my routine definitely helped. Just trying to figure out a way to just cut back and chill and get back into the shape I was at a while ago. So, gym's definitely helped out. Good mental
and
health too.
it's easier once you start doing it again. It's not like it's harder. It's definitely easier than when you begin, at least.
Yeah, I've noticed it's not really as bad. Like I ended up I think I spent like an hour and 15 minutes today, and usually I'm trying to just be in and out. Like I'll go in for an hour, but it's definitely easier now that I've been doing it. I think this is my 3rd week. Yeah,
Hey, let's
3rd
go.
week of consistency. Or trying to be
Good for you.
consistent at least. I think the hardest part is definitely
You
the
have to cut out that time ahead of time. It's like you have to commit in your day and know that you're going. You have to schedule it ahead and say, I'm going to go to the gym today at this time. There's no questions to be asked. I'll be there. And if I don't show up, then I have nothing else to do during that time. So I'm just going to regret it.
yeah, bro. It's brutal, and that's why I think I'm just like, I think the hardest part is trying to eat right 5 days a week and not be tempted to just be like, man, I really
Yeah,
don't feel
and
like cooking or waiting for the food. Let me
What
just
what
do
I
something.
found is actually like basically a deal breaker for if I eat well that day is how well I slept. If I
Mm.
don't sleep good, my cravings are so much higher for high fat foods and foods that are not good for you.
I think there was a study I did in food science that correlated the two together. This was years ago. It's a little
Yeah,
hazy,
it's
but
true though. Your sleep quality is directly correlated to your hunger. It has a lot to do with your hormonal profile. When you don't sleep well, you produce more ghrelin. Ghrelin's a hormone that makes you hungry. It makes you think, I need food now. You also produce less leptin. Leptin makes you feel more full. So if you have more ghrelin and less leptin, it's like driving full gas towards I need to eat food. But if you have leptin and no ghrelin, it's like slamming on the brakes and saying, I don't want to eat any food at all. But your sleep highly dictates that cycle. It's like if you have poor sleep, you have more ghrelin, less leptin. If you have good sleep, there's a good balance between the two. And you eat when you're supposed to. So it's finding that balance and figuring out what works for you. Everyone's different.
interesting.
Anyways, I think that just does about everything I had to ask you for this week. Do you have any last comments or questions?
Yeah, this is going to lead me to my last segment.
Sure.
So, have you ever played something called Guess That Gadget?
No.
So basically, what this is, I'm going to describe some sort of futuristic gadget, or it might be something in neuroscience, and I'm going to try and do my best to exaggerate the shit out of it, or at least make it very misleading. And you're going to have to try and guess it and tell me what it is. Sound good?
Sure.
So this gadget can fit in your pocket, can instantly generate holograms of people or objects in full 3D, allowing for lifelike communication, presentations, or entertainment. It uses advanced light field technology and has applications in education, gaming, and remote work.
Is this a real life thing?
It is. You've seen it in Star Wars.
But this exists in the real world.
It does. Star Wars just applied it in a different type of technology.
Wait a minute. Is it a projector?
You're warm.
It fits in your pocket. That's something throwing me off. Is it a phone?
No. What's the most recent Star Wars content you've watched?
I watched. I'm up to date on all of them. The problem is that I don't remember a lot of it. It's been years.
So, I'll throw you a bone. Think of Mandalorian, and think of what the Mandalorian was using to.
So I actually haven't
Okay.
watched. I've only watched the movies. That's actually a good point to make. I haven't watched any Mandalorian.
Did you ever watch the animated Star Wars show?
Nope.
Oh, actually, no. There, you saw one in episode 3, in episode 2, and episode 1 for that fact. They were all means of communication.
Yeah,
the
they had
actual
like
device-
the intercom thing. I know that they would talk, and then Obi-Wan would pop up, and he has the blue light-looking thing.
Yes. So what was Obi-Wan's figure in that? What was he? What type
He was
of?
a hologram.
Correct. Now put what you said earlier and that together.
A holojector. A program.
No. You had the first part right.
Holographic
Holographic.
projector.
Yes,
That's a real thing?
it's a real thing.
That's so cool. I want
It
to
is a
look that
very
up
cool
now. That's
device.
awesome.
No, you definitely should. It's very cool.
And can it do the same kind of thing and project like people?
I'm not sure. I think you can program it to do things like that. Oh, hello.
Do you know where the house is by chance?
Um,
What the hell?
do we
are
have
you
keep
doing?
inventory on?
No. Well, then I can turn it on. I actually don't know how to turn it on. Oh.
I'm back there.
Excellent. Good work.
You're welcome. It's just, I can't believe I actually remember how to do that.
And I turned it off again. All right. I think that was great. I think that I learned a lot about you. I was able to get a lot off my chest about insurance. And I really like these segments you're coming up with. You're like the Riddler.
You like it? It's very nice. I'm not gonna lie though. I definitely was improvising on the fly with some of these because I had the idea, but I didn't actually have a topic.
Sure.
So it's very scuffed. But I'll send all of this to you afterwards so
Sure.
you can throw some of these at me.
Awesome. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that for this week, huh?
I don't know. What if there's another episode this week? Haha. Surprise face.
Well, now what, cuz?